Greetings, welcome to 3 Lanes number 31. This time I'll be talking about Datsun. And well, it was mainly targeted to Datsun because I know people that own Datsuns. Uh, I feel like that's the golden age of Nissan, maybe. Some people might argue that, when they develop the Skyline, all that stuff might be it. But to me, it's more like the 240Z, the 510s, like kind of like 70s Datsun. That's like peak, peak Datsun slash Nissan. Um, yeah, we're gonna go and look into the creation, evolution, some strategic analysis of the brand, some kind of like financial stuff, like market performance, financial performance compared to other brands, why they struggle, and why now they're more known for the Ultimas than anything else. I mean, at least here in the US, and it's one of their biggest markets. I know China is dwindling for them, but yeah, it's interesting how Nissan has gotten to the point where they are. Without further rambling any longer, let's get into it. And let's start with the origins and creation of Datsun from 1911 to 1931. And the Datsun brand originated in 1911 when the Kwaishinsha, yeah, I think I'm saying it right. Kwaishinsha Motor Car Works was founded in Tokyo by Masujiro Hashimoto. The company's first automobile, uh, the first car they created, the DAT car, DAT car, was produced in 1914 and named after the initials of the three key investors, Kenjiro Den, the D comes from Den, Rokuro Aoyama, the A, and Mitaro Takeuchi, the T, so DAT. Interestingly, the word dato in Japanese means to dash off like a startled rabbit, which was considered an appropriate name for the small car. So you could argue that it could have no. Well, I don't know. I don't remember the dates for the rabbit, but you could argue that they're close together. The evolution from the DAT or DAT to Datsun occurred in 1931 when DAT Motor Car Co. company developed a smaller passenger car called the Datsun, meaning son of Dat. However, the name was quickly changed to Datsun because son in Japanese also means loss, which carry negative connotations. So the name incorporated sun to honor the sun depicted in Japan's national flag. Clever. Again, the name changed from SON to SUN, right? Just to have it clear. Transformation from Datsun to Nissan. In 1933 to 1986, the Nissan Motor Company formation. In 1933, Nissan Motor Company was established following a merger with the name Nissan, derived from the holding company Nihon Sangyo, which had the ticker symbol NIS-SAN on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. Despite this corporate restructuring, the Datsun brand, it was still being used for the car products, particularly for export markets. The great rebranding of 1981 to 1986. The transition from Datsun to Nissan was a strategic decision announced in 1981, driven by Nissan's leadership desire to unify the brand, the brand identity globally under the single name. The rebranding process was extensive and costly, requiring over 500 million in investment from the sources that I've seen. This transition took several years to complete, with Datsun models still being sold under the original name well into the mid-1980s, with the changeover fully completed by March of 1986. Brand activity, timeline, and life cycle. Original era, 1931 to 1986. 1931 to 1958, domestic Japanese market focus with limited international presence. So they were only focused on Japan. 1958, they entered into the US market starting in California. Wow. In 1959, national US dealership expansion. From 1970 to 1980, peak success period with iconic models like the 240C and the 510. Again, I think this is my peak era. In 1986, the complete phase out of Datsun name in favor of Nissan. We enter the revival era from 2013 to 2022. In 2013, there was a brand resurrection for emerging markets. So in emerging markets, meaning smaller markets compared to the US or bigger countries in Asia, they reintroduced Nissan. And in 2014, the production restarted with the Datsun GO in India. I'll try to find a photo and put it in the show notes. In 2022, there's a final discontinuation after selling approximately 470,000 vehicles globally. So it wasn't really a huge success. Yeah, it's interesting how they revived the brand just to kill it again. Now they realize they probably should have never gone to Nissan fully. Competitive advantages and disadvantages. Advantages during peak years 1970 to 1980s. Market position excellence. Datsun successfully positioned itself as offering European style performance at affordable prices. The 240Z, priced at approximately $3,500, undercut competitors like the Alfa Romeo GTV by 25%. This is crazy. The 240C was more sought after than the GTV. That's crazy. Sales success. The 240Z became a remarkable success story, with Nissan initially anticipating sales of 1,600 units per month, but market demand actually made them reach closer to 4,000 units a month. US sales figures showed this success with 16,215 units in the first year of production, 33,684 in 1971, and 45,588 units in 1972. Plenty of Zs produced. That's good. Quality and reliability. Japanese manufacturers, including Datsun, gained significant reputation advantages during the 1970s oil crisis, when fuel-efficient, reliable vehicles became highly valued. And this is around the time when the Volkswagen Golf came out. It actually, if memory serves me well, it's 1974. So the 70s is when the oil crisis happened and where front-wheel drive cars became more relevant. Yeah, but even then, the 240Z or Nissan Datsun cars were very significant because they were very fuel efficient, reliable cars, just like the how Japanese were known, right? The reputation that they had. Competitive disadvantages, brand recognition challenges. The costly rebranding from Datsun to Nissan in the 80s created market confusion and is still considered one of the worst marketing decisions in automotive history. Market share erosion. While Toyota and Honda grew their US market significantly, significantly during the 1980s, Nissan, formerly Datsun, experienced declining growth rates. Honda and Toyota demonstrated superior market penetration, with Toyota's US market share rising from 3% in 1976 to above 10% by 2002. Financial, managerial, and microeconomic challenges. Financial crisis of the 90s. Nissan faced severe financial difficulties in the 90s. It accumulated approximately 20 to 21 billion in automotive debt by 1999. The company's operating profit margin fell to just 1%, meaning they were making just 1% on everything they were selling, while competitors were average 4%. Sorry, operating profit margin. Yeah, from the operations, right? Everything that they had to spend in operations, they were just making technically 1% of sales after all the cost of operations was deducted. And return on invested capital averaged 1% compared to competitors' 10%. That is crazy. Microeconomic factors, economies of scale challenges. Unlike Toyota and Honda, which successfully leveraged economies of scale in production and R&D, Nissan struggled with the cost efficiency. The company had 43 models in 1999, but only 4 were profitable. Sad, man. So what we're saying here, it's Toyota and Honda, they include the cost of their R&D on all the cars they're going to sell. So the more cars they sell, the R&D pays for itself. But Nissan struggle with the cost situation and or the cost efficiency in this case, so which made it hard for them to justify R&D. Currency impact. The strengthening yen in 1970s and 80s significantly increased the cost of Japanese exports, affecting Datsun's price competitiveness. So basically, exporting everything from Japan was hard, which made it more difficult for Datsun to become competitive. Managerial accounting issues, cost structure problems. During the revival of Datsun between 2013 and 2022, cost-cutting measures led to poor build quality and lack of features, making the cars vulnerable to consumer rejection. The brand sold only 4,296 units in India in 2021, representing a mere 0.09% market share. That is really bad. Production inefficiencies. Nissan's current financial struggles continue, with the company reporting record losses of approximately $5 billion for fiscal 2024. Operating profit has gone down by 99% in recent quarters, and global production declined by 8.7% to 3.14 million vehicles. This comes from Nissan Global and Just Auto. The $5 billion for fiscal in 2024 comes from Car Scoops. I'm not sponsored, by the way. Overall automotive strategy. Historical strategy from 1960s to 1980s. Datsun's strategy focused on penetrating Western markets with affordable, reliable vehicles that offer superior fuel economy during all crises. The brand successfully competed against established European sports car manufacturers with models like the 240Z series. Modern revival strategy 2013 to 2022. The revival strategy aimed to capture emerging market opportunities with ultra low cost vehicles priced between $3,000 to $5,000. However, this approach failed due to insufficient demand and quality concerns. Yeah, quality has to be key, man. Nobody wants a crappy quality car. Current strategy position. Nissan faces significant challenges in the current automotive landscape, with global sales of 3.35 million vehicles in 2024. This represents a slight decline. The company ranks as the world's 6th or 7th largest automaker, but struggles to maintain competitiveness against Toyota and Honda, the two biggest from Japan. We have production and sales data. Global production 2024. Nissan produced 3.14 million vehicles worldwide, with Mexico being the largest production center with 669,941 units, followed by China 665,437 units, and Japan with 657,000 units. Regional performance. North America remains Nissan's strongest market with 1.28 million units sold in 2024, while China sales declined 12.2% to 696,631 units. Financial performance comparison. The current financial metrics show Nissan's challenges compared to competitors. Their operating margin, Honda's expected above 10% and Nissan below 2%. Debt levels. Historically, high debt burden continues to impact performance. Market capitalization, significantly lower than Toyota and Honda, that's for sure. The Datsun brand's journey went from innovative startup to global success and eventual decline, illustrates the complex interplay of strategic decision making, market forces, and operational execution in the automotive industry. While the original Datsun achieved remarkable success through the 1970s and early 80s, the subsequent strategy, the missteps, and the challenging economics of the modern automotive industry ultimately led to its permanent discontinuation in 2022. Again, we're talking about Datsun, right? This is closing thoughts on Datsun. Nissan, on the other hand, to me, it's become the Nissan Altima brand. Altimas are not well regarded, and the drivers have a lot to do with it. If you see somebody, if you live in the US and if you see somebody driving like a maniac, well, nowadays it could also be a Tesla. Those guys, yeah. But the Nissan Altima is a car that if you see one on the road, you might want to stay away. Uh, I'm that's the stereotype, right? And stereotypes supposedly are not always correct, but 80% of the time, Nissan Altimas are not great drivers. What do you think about Nissan? What's your opinion? I know they have some nice cars nowadays. I was just looking at the Aria today, driving back home. It looks nice, but again, the styling of the car has also something to do with it, and I don't think Nissan is doing anything about styling. You know, Kia and Hyundai, they put a lot of work, effort, and they have invested a lot in trying to change the image of Korean car companies, meaning they want to show that Korean car companies are quality, are luxury, good design. But in the case of Nissan, I just don't see that. You know, when I was younger, I used to like the Nissan Armada, but then seeing it now, it's like, oh man, that car is doesn't look good. It might be the excess of chrome accents that they use in all their cars, but yeah, the shapes of them, they're improving a little bit, but still, I think Nissan needs to make a dramatic change. I know there were rumors about mergers and acquisitions. I haven't seen anything happen, but Nissan was great. The 240Z, a sweet car, sweet ride. But the new one, I don't know. I barely see it on the road. Supposedly they sell well, but I hardly see them. I never see the is it 240Z? Is that what it's called now? Or well, I don't know. But the new one, the one that replaced the the 250, the 270Z, um, it's hardly seen on the road. I know they were doing some stuff with electric cars. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, Nissan. Hopefully your future is brighter than your present. Thanks for listening. I appreciate your time. Let me know what you think about Nissan. See you next time.